So I want to start with a quote from Walt Disney. Walt Disney said, "It's kind of fun to do the impossible." You know, if you've ever been to Disney World, or if you know much about the Disney World Corporation, you know that they are truly dedicated to Walt's vision of doing things above and beyond what anyone expects, and to do things that other people may have already decided was impossible. So I told you last week I was going to tell you about an experience I had at kind of the peak of my career, and that happened in 2008, and I was asked to join the executives of our company on the Walt Disney World property for this big meeting. And one of the afternoons of the meeting, we were given the choice of how we'd like to spend this free afternoon. You know, you could play a game, round of golf, you could get a massage, whatever. But one of the choices was to do a backstage Disney tour. And I thought that sounded like an interesting thing. So I decided to do that. And part of that experience, we were taken to their corporate training headquarters, and they shared some of the philosophy of the Disney company. And it was there in that meeting that I learned the phrase, bumping the lamp. And that's my talk title today, Bump the Lamp. Mystery, huh? Here's what that means. In the world of Disney, as I said, it's expected that everyone works hard to go the extra mile for the guests. So where you take something that's already really pretty good and make it just that more magical and just a little bit better. So not only are you asked to be great when you're working for Disney, you're expected to be remarkable. And that kind of dedication, as you know, is on display whenever you're around the Disney property. You know, they sprinkle pixie dust on the little children's beds in the hotels, or a character might be hurrying to go somewhere and there's a child and they stop for that inconvenient photograph. Or you may not know, but the carousel ponies are constantly being painted. They're rotated out, and there are artists painting the ponies every day. Ponies are being painted. And so that's just a few examples of them going the extra mile. And quite frankly, it's kind of what we've come to expect when we go to a Disney property, right? So bumping the lamp is a phrase that came out of the making of the 1988 Disney movie, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So if you ever saw that film, it's a film where they combined, one of the first films to combine live action actors and actresses interacting with animated characters such as Roger Rabbit himself. That was a huge challenge at the time. Just accomplishing that feat in and of itself, combining animation and live action, would have been fine for any production company, but not Disney. They needed that pixie dust, that extra little magic to make it even more special. It, quite frankly, had to be the best. And I'm going to show a little clip of the movie in just a minute, but there's this scene where Eddie Valiant, who was the live action character, takes Roger Rabbit, the animated character, into a back room to cut off some handcuffs that had linked them together. And suddenly and unexpectedly, Eddie Valiant, the real guy, suddenly bumps into a lamp that's hanging from overhead, and that lamp swings back and forth during the scene for several minutes. And this lamp, as you can imagine, casts shadows, right, across the characters and across the room. And the animators of that scene went to excruciating effort, spending numerous extra hours just to match up the real shadows in the room with the animated shadows that had to go across Roger Rabbit. And also Roger Rabbit cast some of those shadows. And it took hundreds of extra hours of animation time to make that one scene. So here's a snippet from the scene to illustrate the point. And if you can't see it, you can go on YouTube and search Bumping the Lamp and you can find it. And we have the sound muted for Facebook purposes, but I just want you to see what I'm talking about. So show that clip. So they're going into the room, and then he bumps that lamp. Now watch the shadows. I mean, if you haven't seen the movie lately, you should see it. There is no sound, so. So the shadows just keep going and keep going. Thank you. So, this extra effort devoted to making that one scene just a little bit more remarkable was termed bumping the lamp in the world of Disney. So, employees use that phrase when they're going the extra mile to, let's say, design a ride at Disney or an experience. They bump the lamp. How can we? They're constantly asking, okay, how can we bump the lamp? Like, how can we make this line that everybody's standing in for an hour? How do we make it just a little bit more special for the experience that people are having? How do we bump the lamp? Disney knows how to bump the lamp. But do you know what it takes to bump the lamp? It takes energy, it takes passion, it takes dedication and effort, just to name a few things. So in our book, Spiritual Economics, in the preface, it mentions the Sermon on the Mount when Jesus tells us that we should go the second mile to do more than is expected. Why would that be important? Why is that important? Because we know it is the spiritual truth that the more energy you flow out of yourself, the more energy flows back into you. Brittany's reading really illustrated that beautifully. Remember last week when I talked about the continuum, that on one end of the continuum is fear and shutdown and low energy, and one end of the continuum is love and passion and high energy. Remember that? So making the decision to bump the lamp in your life is one of the best ways to move towards the love, towards the passion end of that spectrum. Making the decision to bump the lamp is how you communicate with yourself and with the world around you that will respond to your decision, by the way. So basically, that decision is how you change your life for the better. Making the decision to give more of yourself is how you make the decision to receive more good into your life, period. That's how life works. So think about it. If you want to improve your relationship or your health or your finances or your job or your home, make the decision to bump the lamp. The question is, what is the standard that you've set for yourself in all the areas of your life, but especially at work, because that's what we're talking about. It's our theme, right? So here are the standards that we kind of choose from, and I made these up, so there may be some in between them and the words, who knows, but this is what I made up. Okay, so one of the lowest standards we can set for ourselves, I'm going to call that self-sabotage. Okay, that's the lowest standard. If you're living this standard, there's a tendency to not expect very much from yourself. And whenever you do decide to improve things, something within you sabotages whatever's going on and you stop trying, right? So this sounds like, you apply for a new job and you might get it, but you're late so often that you end up losing the job. Or you get accepted into a training, but the classes are just kind of boring and never mind, I'm just not going to do it. Or refuse to study, right? And one of the characters of this low standard for yourself is feelings of resentment and blaming others when the challenges arrive. Such as, my boss just doesn't like me. My coworkers, they get all the better projects than I do. These rules are stupid, right? With this low level of commitment to ourselves, we just end up quitting over and over in all areas of life, not just work, but we quit other things too. So self-sabotage. Then the next one up, I'm called coasting. Okay, so this is where we barely exert any energy, right? We're just trying to stay invisible, just kind of getting by, doing the minimum. It sounds something like this. The pay here is no longer satisfying, but I don't have the courage to walk away or renegotiate. Maybe they won't notice me anyway. I'll just lay low. Or they don't pay me enough to try harder, so I'm just going to do what I do. As you can imagine, when we're coasting at that, we're in that level of coasting, we get bored. Boredom is just a part of that. So let's move up a level. A little bit higher standards, what I call a team player. And if you're working at this level, it's about matching other people's efforts, but not having the determination to stand out or strive for a higher level. It sounds something like this: I'll give as much as I get. I'll do as much as the other guys are doing, but no more than that. And at this level, there's some degree of job satisfaction, but there isn't the desire to bump the lamp. And then let's talk about lamp bumpers. What's a lamp bumper? That sounds like, let's go. I love this place. I'm passionate about this and what I do here. I'm going to bring my best. I'm going to bring my ideas. I've got some ideas because lamp bumpers are always throwing out creative ideas. They're asking, how can we bump the lamp here? Lamp bumpers are irritating to coasters and self-sabotagers. They're like, hey, we're not getting paid enough to do this better. What are you talking about? Lamp bumpers often get pushback, right? And as you can imagine, we're always moving in and out of these different levels of commitment to our lives throughout our work life, throughout our lives, don't we? So what makes our standards start to slip? What makes a lamp bumper suddenly become a coaster? What causes that? Most of the time, at least in my experience, what causes people to kind of lose their mojo or their energy is change. Change often brings about disappointment or loss or discouragement. And the other thing that depletes our willingness to give more is having our old wounds triggered. Because guess what? Wherever you go, you take your stuff with you, and those buttons, if you still have them, they're going to get pushed all the time. And then the lamp bumpers suddenly just don't feel like bumping the lamp. We withdraw our energy and our passion from work, and we kind of slip down into lower energy and fear causes even more loss, and any potential for unexpected good to come at you in your job just dwindles. And on the other hand, the more energy you can bring into the equation, the more unexpected good things that can happen and get added into the mix. And also sustaining a higher level of good becomes possible. Ernest Holmes in this thing called You says, seek to make your work a prayer. You're believing an act. You're living an art. It is then that the object of your faith will be made visible to you. It is then that you shall kiss the lips of your desire. I don't know about you, but I want to kiss the lips of my desire, right? So how do you make your work a prayer? How do you bump the lamp in your day? How do you go that extra distance, give the maximum effort and enthusiasm and energy? We got to figure this out. You know why? Because it is through that increased level of giving of ourselves that we receive more energy from the universe in return. And next month, we're going to talk about that energy that comes back to us. We're going to talk about that. So since we spend so many hours of our day at work, or so many years of our lives at work, there's a maximum to be gained by not coasting through doing the minimum. Showing up in the most dynamic and energized way is the way we put spiritual truth into motion in our lives. And Ernest Holmes said this in How to Change Your Life. He's full of brilliant, I'm telling you, he's a wonderful man. He writes interesting things. He says, only as I use talents, privileges, opportunities, responsibilities, or funds wisely will they benefit me. I shall not bury them in the ground. I shall not hoard them. I shall use them constantly so they serve others. And in that service they shall increase. I produce intelligently and plentifully with what is entrusted to me. I produce intelligently and plentifully. That which is entrusted to me. So are you using all those things to serve others constantly so that they shall increase? So consider your employment situation right now. Ask Spirit to reveal to you the ways you could bump the lamp or re-energize yourself in kind of new ways. Maybe there's a project that you need to reprioritize, or maybe there's a coworker that you need to get to know better or take to lunch. Maybe it's as simple as making your workplace, your workspace more valuable to you, more delightful for you. Maybe there's a grudge to release or a change to accept or a move that needs to be made. What pixie dust can you sprinkle in your work? That's the question. And the reason this is so important is because we all desire more good to flow in so that we can kiss the lips of our desire, right? Holmes says, in that service, they shall increase. What do you want to increase? Resources, more quality relationships, better health, more peace of mind, more vitality, whatever it is that you want to increase. Our job is to use everything life has entrusted to us intelligently and plentifully. You know, the law of circulation is pretty clear. It's pretty clear. If we want to receive more, we have to put more energy into circulation. Because when circulation stops, life stops. Things stagnate and things die or end. That's what happens. So whatever your profession is, there's an opportunity to discover and develop a passion for doing work that you find enjoyable and meaningful. And the key is to get good at something that helps you help others. I'm going to tell Patty Sablekin's story. So in Sacred Cup this morning, we were talking about work and we weren't talking about bumping the lamp, but she gave a perfect bump the lamp story. So she was flying, where were you flying to? Dublin. Okay, so she is a flight attendant on Delta. So she's flying and she's working the first class section of this flight. And she explained that most of the time flight attendants, they serve the food, then they go into their little cubby and they just talk among themselves and just ignore the passengers. But that's not what Patty decided to do. She decided to go around the first class cabin and actually talk to the people about what they were going to Ireland for and let them talk to her and show them her videos and all kinds of things to bump the lamp on that flight. And do you know what? Those passengers, because I've been that passenger before, those passengers are going to remember Patty. They're going to be thinking about her. And guess what they're going to be doing? They're going to be talking about her to other people. And they're going to be talking about her in positive ways. And guess what that is? That is in the one mind. People are thinking good thoughts about Patty. Patty's good will increase because she put that energy out and it's going to flow back to her. So do you want people talking about you in a good way? Yes. You want people remembering you and talking about you all over the company that you work for, or all over the experience that you're having. It's a great story, Patty. Bump the lamp. Get good at something that helps you help other people. That's a very broad statement, actually. Getting good at something that helps you help other people is important. People who dedicate themselves to getting good at something means that at some point they discovered something that was either an innate talent or a proclivity or an interest in something, and they decided to dedicate tons of energy to it to get good at it. They dedicated their time, their talent, and their treasure into its development. And the secret is, once you get good at something, start using it to help other people and watch your life grow. Watch your life grow in every way. This is very common knowledge. Buddha even said it. He said, set your heart on doing good. Do it over and over again, and you will be filled with joy. Get good at something and help other people. We bump the lamp by touching and helping other people. We can help other people build, a magical animated movie, yes. But we can also help people feed their children, or help people climb a mountain, or help people make music. The possibilities are endless. But you may not work. So help other people by helping your grandkids or your projects, or do projects at your house or around here. Help other people with what you're good at. And I have 3 tips for you. The first one is be a difference maker. No matter what you're doing, I invite you to be that one element that makes a difference through your engagement, wherever you are. When you're seeking to make a difference, contribute significantly, there's this natural tendency to stay engaged, just waiting for your moment to bump the lamp. When you're involved in something where you're making a difference, it tugs at your heartstrings, it activates your mind, and it utilizes your talents or brings out your strengths. You have the energy flowing to make a difference. People who make a difference are those who rise to the top. They're valued. They become resources to other people around them, and good flows to those who make a difference in the overall picture. Just think about people in your life that you know who are making a difference, and everyone knows it. If someone asked the people who know you, would your name be on that list? Oh, he or she makes a difference in the situation. If not, maybe you could bump the lamp. Use what you're good at to be a difference maker. The second tip is be a way maker. You know, we're inherently tribal and communal in nature at the deepest level. Look around you and see how you can help other people succeed or reach a goal. When you're good at your work, inspiring others adds great value to the company or the organization. And if you don't see a natural outlet for being a way maker in your own work, maybe this is something that's going to happen outside of work, where you are volunteering or doing something where you're making a difference and helping other people. Relationships are how we become a way maker. So think for a second about the people in your life who clear obstacles for other people. They make the way. You know, sometimes it's easier to just do something for somebody, but that's often a Band-Aid instead of helping them understand how to make their way. And the third one is be a risk taker. A difference maker, once you've done that, once you've been a way maker, be a risk taker. Once you become good at those things, identify new outlets, new groups to help, new audiences for your talent and your skills. Be a risk taker, because as your outlook on life improves and your energy level goes up, don't be surprised if new opportunities don't come your way. Because if you're raising your standard of excellence and you're exerting more energy, people are going to notice that. It's just the way the universe shows up to flow your good to you. New opportunities, new invitations will come your way. As we value ourselves more, the world around you starts to value you more too. So are you ready to take some risks for growth and expansion in your life? Are you confident enough to be a difference maker, a way maker, or a risk taker? Things change when you start bumping the lamp. So my call to you today is to keep bumping the lamp in your life. Yes, in the world of work, but in every area of your life that you care about. Bump the lamp in your relationships. Bump the lamp in every aspect. Be that difference maker. Make a way for someone. Help other people. It's amazing how much your life can change. And don't forget my original Disney quote. It's kind of fun to do the impossible. So every time you see a little Disney sticker or a little Mickey Mouse somewhere, let that be like a little God wink reminder to go the extra pixie dust mile and bump the lamp. And so it is.